problem.
Hey, let's get through some quick stories, Chris. I did get a chance to go to the baseball game on Saturday night. It was the second one before the end, I believe. Padres pulled it out 3-1. There was an article this morning in the Star about that Patrick Finley,
yeah.
And he talked about the kind of the bittersweet. This is the last year, it looks like, of Padres baseball and AAA baseball for the foreseeable future.
The next year coming up is
last year, yeah, because they're moving to El Paso. El Paso built a $50 million stadium to attract a team like this.
Probably downtown.
Probably. Yeah. The prior team that was here, the Sidewinders, they moved to Reno, Nevada, who built a downtown stadium.
I believe that El Paso also had the AA for the
Padres
for the Diamondbacks.
Oh, Diamondbacks.
Yep, I thought.
So it just kind of exemplifies, and so they're looking at the total fans that have gone through the gates, and we're the lowest in the league at 200,991 fans this year.
Over how many games?
Didn't say. I didn't know there's a test. You should have told me.
Sorry.
I looked that up. So it gets back to Mike Fader worked so hard to make this happen, put together the folks. He tries to handle every problem. Like they were saying, it's too hot. So he would take the temperature at every inning, and by the seventh inning stretch, it was 80 degrees out there. So he's trying to do everything he can. He's been on this show. He's been a consummate promoter of the baseball team and get the Padres and get folks out there. But he says, I just can't figure out why people don't come out. And he's been pretty excited about the stadium and tried to do the best he can with Kino, but the luster's kind of.
There are so many factors that are outside of his control.
Mm-hmm. Weather and
there's
economy.
weather, there's economy, it's location of the ballpark. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you something. If you're let's say you're a guy or gal who works at Raytheon, but you live in Oro Valley, and you're going to on a Thursday night you're going to go drive back to Oro Valley and come back down with your family. Not going to happen. I think you talked about the SB 1070 in relation to some of the effect it had on your sports buzz and that apartment down on the south side.
Yeah.
Well, you know something? There's a whole lot less people living on the south side now who could go there in 5 minutes and, it wasn't a big problem from that type of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a part of the problem, too, a little bit. I think there's so many. Oh, and also, there's such a bad voodoo about baseball in this town right now, and Pima County and all this jazz, and there's feelings of abandonment by the Diamondbacks and the White Sox and the Rockies. I think you got that. But look at the U of A.
Look at the
U
High
of A,
Corbett.
yeah, U of A.
The High Corbett move.
But the U of A is the
turned
U
out to
of
be
A.
Brilliant, yeah.
The U of A is the U of A. It's a whole other ballgame.
It's an Arizona Wildcat town.
You know what I mean? And so when I'm just telling you, I think there's so many factors that have led to this.
When you and I talk about politics, and I'll be out in the community and I'll say I do a radio show involved in local politics, the biggest thing that comes back to me on a local level is why did we put the ballpark where we put the ballpark?
Sure.
And let me just finish this off with this little statement. He says, last season, during the team's first ever batting practice at Kino, Fader spent 15 minutes telling me the stadium's location was not an impediment to the fans. He said, it was a myth that the fans would travel to these games. Now, 2 seasons later, I sense that he's not so sure. Quote, I don't know that I get tired of it, he said, but the most asked question in the last 2 years in the community is, why didn't we build it downtown? Federer has flirted with High Corbett twice, blah, blah, blah. The Padres will play there in 2013 and maybe 2014 at Kino. It's too bad. With ample fields and huge locker rooms, Kino remains a great place to train a team and a lousy neighborhood for a night out. There's no restaurants or bars nearby unless you count the In-N-Out Burger and the gas station that smells snoring hot dogs. You won't see that anywhere else in the PCL. Most of the new parks are built as part of a downtown redevelopment district. Dell Diamond in Round Rock, Texas, was placed in the Austin suburbs and has watched business sprout up for the last 12 years since it opened. That's not happening here. It's sad that the Padres' attendance is the lowest in the entire league.
You friends, remember, 3 years ago when you guys started, I told you this story, and it's the same story I've been telling for over 10, 12, 15 years. The city had no vision. The city could have had it downtown.
And
they have all that room on the other side.
Too.
Well, okay, but the county came on later. But nobody had any vision. Nobody wanted to stand up as usual in this city to do a damn thing. Nothing. I don't know. What do they know? They don't know anything about anything in the first place. They can't make a decision, especially when And so the county, who was it? Ekstrom? Who was it?
Ekstrom Grijalva.
Ekstrom Grijalva. They said, we'll take it. We'll build ourselves our monument. And they did. And look at it. It's next to the
mental hospital.
The mental hospital and across the street from the from Juvie. with an In-N-Out burger 20 years later down the street.
Tough to
This
get
is
in and out of
great
there.
planning, people.
Horrendous to
That's
get in
what
and out
is
there.
wrong with this town, and it always has been, and it always will be unless something changes.
Now, originally they were talking about doing this on the other side of I-10, right, where the big hole
there's
is.
plenty of room. There's nothing
the
over there.
Mercado.
A Mountain.
At the shadow of A Mountain, how cool.
So why didn't it go there?
Political, baby.
It's all Lillian Lopez Grant and that neighborhood association in there.
Folks, take a look at that area. Drive through there. $350 million. The ballpark was $30 million. The hospital has been about 200 and some, almost $300 million. You got the community center that was handed over to the YMCA, another $8 million. That little area there is a huge political football that's been dumped into powerful political groups that run the community, run the county. Look at it. Drive around there. But yet the point is you don't have restaurants. You don't have economic opportunities growing up around it. It is a destination, an island in itself. And that's a challenge. Folks don't want to come down there.
Yep.
That's why. Look at Reno. Look at El Paso. Look at these other things going on.
But it is the ultimate example on the city side, especially, of what rules the city. And what rules the city is neighborhood associations. So the idea...
This was a county play.
No, in relation... No, I'm talking about I-10 in Congress. Okay.
City wasn't involved in that. It was they're looking for
That's
red
not
herrings.
city
It wasn't
land?
big enough. Yeah.
Is it city land?
They said it wasn't big enough. They couldn't have the practice fields. Blah blah blah. But the reality is, all these other downtown baseball stadiums don't have the practice fields at the stadium.
Of course,
because they just have the stadium and parking. This was a pull by the county. This was a power play by the county, all the way across. It was Ekstrom or Halva pulled it to where they wanted it.
Well, there you go.
That's why you got it.
Very nice. And now you have a stadium that no one's going to be playing in again. And again, let's give some props where they're due. Fader and a group of 10 local investors truly tried to make the silk purse out of the sow's ear on this one. Yep. And what will happen is that once you lose another one like this, Tucson is now on the blacklist.
It's going to be tough with the
It's the town that loses stuff. Yeah. So this is what happens when you have these incumbents that keep running and running and running. All right? Bronson, Valadez.
Sharon was on that vote.
Sharon Bronson.
Yeah, she was on that vote for the location.
Richard Elias. Even, Ray's been around for a while on all this stuff, okay? We become the community that loses stuff. And we wring our hands. Oh, poor us. But if you look at the total economic development of all the things that have left Tucson, it'll make you puke. And we're talking about baseball. We're talking about we've lost 3 major league teams, and now we're going to lose 2 minor league teams. We've lost the LPGA golf tournament. We've lost the Western Music Association. We've lost the Copper Bowl. We've
Waste
lost
management.
Waste management. Very good, Joseph. You're starting to know your events very well, sir. Okay? So when
we got 3 resorts in bankruptcy.
Right. When we start adding all this together of these things that we lose, it's not just the fact that it's things to do on a weekend or on a day. It's the idea that it's amazing amount of economic impact that's been flushed down the toilet. And we wring our hands. We don't do it. Now, the funny thing is, I have seen the sports and tourism guys get so much crap. Oh, we're going to give money. Well, at least someone tried to replace the stuff that went away. Because no one at the city or the county even attempted to. It wasn't like Tom Moulton was working real hard at Pima County Tourism Development at his $117 5-year salary to go replace any of this stuff.
They're jumping to Japan. They're looking at North Korea.
At least they're trying. At least someone's trying. Yeah. Who? The problem is we're great. We're biggest ingrates ever. We never appreciate anything when it's here. What were the efforts to replace the LPGA here? I mean, for God's sake.
How about Mayor Walkup? The only time the gem show guy promoters were getting calls was when Walkup would pick up the phone and say, "Hey, can you threaten to leave unless we build a hotel?" That's never hey, remember that big party they had at the Stillwell Twigs house where they had all the organizers in?
Yep.
Walkup didn't even show up.
Well, I asked him how many people from Tucson. He's one of the biggest shows. He's in Dallas. All right. So Dallas is what? You fly in the morning, take this guy for a kick-ass lunch, and then come home in the afternoon. Right? How many times is that done during? Never. Just gets phone calls from Walkup or Green Hill saying, "Hey, I need you to call the paper and threaten to pull the gem show up because they didn't build the Garfield Traub pig deal."
We're about to vote on a hotel.
You know what I mean? So you're right. I mean, it's typical. That's why if you keep bringing in the incumbents, why do you think the results are going to be different? What do you think, Sharon Bronson's some sort of captain of industry? Somehow she's going to pull our fat out of the fire? She's put our fat in the fire. Does anyone get this yet? Let's go take quick calls before we get. We got to get it. We have Efan Rodriguez waited on the on-deck circle to use a baseball. Let's go to Eric on line 2. Eric, what's shaking?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, bud.
You hit the 3 points, which are all valid: weather, economy, location. In my opinion, I work outside all week, I still wouldn't mind going down sitting at a baseball game because I'm not working. I'm sitting at a baseball game.
Sure.
It's not that bad. The economy, I'm not extremely well off, but they make it so affordable for you to go. You can find free tickets all over town. You got the dollar dog nights. You got all these promotional nights. Anybody on any budget can afford to go. But I can't bring myself to drive from the northwest side of town all the way down to the south side there. I just can't do it. It discourages me from going. When the Wildcats were playing at High Corbett, I was there frequently, and it's that big of a difference, even though it's almost double the trip.
Yeah.
Double the trip.
Yeah. And it's so beautiful. I'm going to tell you, Saturday, watching the sunset and hanging out there, it was awesome.
It's a hassle factor.
But it's a hassle factor, man. It is.
Eric, thanks for the great call, sir.
Good call.
790-2040 is the number. Let's go to